Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash at Scoop News Group, and we're here with Dave Zvenyach, Deputy Commissioner for the Federal Acquisition Service and Director of the Technology Transformation Service at the General Services Administration, to talk about building a data-driven government. Dave, thanks so much for joining us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Well, let me start by asking, given the explosion of data from intelligent applications and infrastructure, what's your vision for leveraging that data to become a more data-driven agency or helping other agencies be more data-driven?
It's a great question. I think as with a lot of efforts in software, you really have to start with the user. It's oftentimes we think about data as sort of in isolation. You say, oh, what's this data say, or what's this data say? But you really have to start with what is the use case? What is the value of the data? What questions are you going to answer with that data, and make sure that you understand that first before you go through all of this sort of expensive architecting and all the sort of work that goes into managing the data infrastructure. Because what data allows you to do is it allows you to make better decisions. It helps you know where you're investing, where you're under investing, where you might need to change processes or find opportunities to better serve your users or your customers, the public. And so I think for us, the way that I tend to think about data and sort of data-driven work is to start with, okay, what questions do we need to answer? What facts are we sort of unable to answer right now without using data? And then how might we be able to best use that data to answer those questions? And so all of that has to start with an expectation of putting the users at the center and making sure that we understand that the data is not going to tell us everything about those users. We have to balance with quantitative and qualitative evidence of what's going on. But you also do need that quantitative evidence. You need to make sure that you are measuring how users are interacting with your systems, how users might not be interacting with your systems in the way that you need to, and making sure that you're making the investments in a way that supports better outcomes for the business, the agency, as well as the end user at the end of the day.
Well, and building on that thought, what is your vision for managing, securing, and analyzing data that's increasingly taking shape at the edge of agencies' enterprise environments?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So one of the great things about GSA is we have an extraordinary team within GSA IT, and our particular information security team has been very good at thinking about how do we not just apply security from sort of a network perspective, but really down all the way to the user, to the data level, and really thinking about how we're maintaining privacy and balancing the privacy interests of the end user with the business need to analyze that data, and making sure that we apply good identity practices, authentication and authorization, and really managing data thoughtfully, both within our infrastructure, but also, again, allowing you to use that data to answer questions and make better decisions. And so from that's one of the things that I think we just benefit from is we have an extraordinary partnership with GSA IT. And when we are partnering with our agencies, we really want to make sure that they think about how they're using their data in the same way, but also thinking about how we're providing them tooling so that they can start to, you don't have to be an expert in sort of data management and sort of data security. You can just really think about how do you answer those questions, providing the tools and the range of platforms that they might need in order to do their work without having to, like I said, become an expert in data security, data management, or really even data science, like really giving people the information that they need at the point of delivery so that they can make the best decisions.
Well, Dave, we hear a lot about cloud and hybrid cloud environments. What are you seeing at GSA's Technology Transformation Service in the way of hybrid cloud environments unfolding?
Yeah, so one of the great things about cloud is that it allows you to iterate quickly, to rapidly deploy into production, and to scale as you see additional demand. And TTS has really been embracing cloud environments since the beginning. We're a cloud native organization. We think about deploying our applications into cloud first. And really thinking of that as a critical part of how we deliver value to our end users, again, repeatedly, quickly, and at the necessary scale. And we've actually built a platform, cloud.gov, which allows agencies to start to use some of those same cloud practices, thinking about using 12-factor applications, really trying to think about how they might be able to take their applications, deploy them in a way that allows them to get familiar with the benefits of cloud. Like I said, the scale, the reliability, the security, and really making sure that we're helping them get through the compliance perspective too, helping them get through their authority to operate quickly in a way that lets developers focus on what developers do, which is to build out the application and really focus on the end user, and lets the platform really handle a lot of the infrastructure and the security and the scale that cloud enables. And so we think that cloud is a critical part of an agency's modernization process. It's obviously there's some times where cloud is not the right answer, but in the main, we find that cloud is a really useful and valuable way to help agencies, again, deliver value quicker and more consistently.
And then lastly, Dave, thinking about how digital transformation has helped agencies navigate through the pandemic, what new plans are you considering to support remote workers and also improve citizen services?
Yeah, and we really learned through the pandemic that this is both important, but also not easy. So TTS again has had the benefit of some years of experience before the pandemic. So 18F was built as a distributed first organization. So for almost 7 years, we've been operating totally in distributed ways. And at GSA, we have incredible support again from our leadership to support both the tooling and the practices and the management that allows you to have distributed teams. And we've invested within TTS on trying to support our partners in doing that. Everything from FedRAMP and really making sure that we're providing more cloud service providers into secure and compliant environments. And then also thinking about how we might support in sort of the softer skills as well. So thinking about how we might be able to teach how we collaborate and how we think about using distributed teams in a really effective way. And there are certain values that we think are core to distributed work. So everything from inclusivity and accessibility, thinking about trust and how you foster trust in an organization, really create a sense of space and patience as well. How we show up for each other, how we make sure that we're present and we stay present in the middle of a meeting. Everyone's been in sort of in-person meetings where someone's jamming on their computer and not really thinking about what's going on around them. It's even harder in a distributed environment where there may be all kinds of distractions. So really making sure that we focus on staying present and creating space for people to stay present. Communication, how you communicate, where you communicate, when you communicate, and in doing that, also being respectful of folks' time. Time is even more challenging in a distributed environment because there's so many competing things for your attention. You can't really just go into the office and zone out. There may be family issues, there may be barking dogs, anything might interrupt sort of the work. And so making sure that you're creating opportunities and respecting people's time and space is important. And then in the end, ultimately just being human. Even though right now we are little boxes on a screen, recognizing that folks on the other side of them are human and have important challenges or opportunities in their lives, and just recognizing and having grace for each other is part of making distributed work happen. Happily, a lot of those principles and values also relates to the physical environments too. And so we think that as we can build on those particular skills, we can create a better and more healthy work environment for really all public servants.
Well, I certainly appreciate your touching on the human dimensions of digital transformation. Dave Zvenyach, thank you so much for taking time to join us and kind of helping our audience get a better sense for building a data-driven government.
Thank you so much for having me.